Today we're going to talk about cognitive load versus cognitive overload. Essentially what that means is what can our students handle from an auditory standpoint, a visual standpoint, etc. before they become overloaded or overwhelmed with information. For years, teachers have been taught to utilize all the different bells and whistles available through technology. And while these things are great, we also have to ask ourselves, how much is too much? How much can our students handle before the content of the lesson gets overwhelmed by all the different features that we're using to wow our kids? So, for example, one of the things that we need to be cautious of is cognitive overload. As you can see in the visual here, this person's just having a freak out because there's too much going on. There's too much stimulation. It's hard for a student who's sitting in the classroom who sees this on the screen to figure out what in the world is going on. It's nearly impossible to prioritize what's important here and what's extraneous information. So it's important for us to recognize what is our goal as a teacher, and keep in mind that for that goal, we should present the basics first, the most important information. From there, we can introduce other thought-provoking ideas, add depth of knowledge, and challenge our higher level learners. Recognizing that this may confuse some of the students who aren't quite prepared for that information. So at the end, it's also key to summarize important points and make sure that the most important information, the essential information, is clear in students' minds. What I do in my classroom is after I introduce the topic, I like to use key phrases or keywords as a form to cue all students that, hey, this is important. This is the stuff you want to make sure that you understand from what I've just said or what I just presented to you. Some additional tricks that I use screen shades or other animation features to chunk information. In other words, I try and break it into smaller chunks, digestible chunks that students can understand and comprehend and think about, rather than giving all of the information at once. Additionally, this is one that teachers frequently forget, is that we have to allow our students think time. We have to give our students time to process what we're saying. I know the temptation is to talk nonstop because it feels awkward to pause and not have anything going on. But that think time that we give our students is essential. It allows them to make connections to past and future learning, which obviously we will have to facilitate in some instances, but it can't happen without think time. And during this time, you can also pose thought-provoking questions and essential questions to stimulate them. But ultimately, the students need time to think, to process, and to appreciate whatever it is that we're putting on the screen.